So we are going to talk about graphing quadratics in standard form. So the last couple weeks we've been graphing in vertex form. Here we're going to graph in standard form. We should remember that standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, right? Okay. And when we were graphing in vertex form, what was the first thing we needed to find? The vertex, right? Because once we find the vertex, we can create our table of values and graph. It's going to be the same thing for standard form. We're going to find our vertex. Unfortunately, we don't get to just look at it. We actually have to do a little bit of math. It's crazy. So, to find the x value of the vertex, we're going to use negative b divided by 2a. That will give us the x value of the vertex. What else does the x value of the vertex tell us? The axis of symmetry. Okay, the x value of vertex also gives us the axis of symmetry. So once I know the x value of the vertex, I need to know the y. And how to find the y, we just plug it back into our original equation. Okay? This is where you could potentially mess up. Yeah. So, I'm going to show you. Okay. So, let's look at number 1. Before we do anything, let's identify A, B, and C. What is A? Negative 1. B, negative 8. And C, negative 17. I don't really need C, but it's good to remember how to find A, B, and C. Okay? I'm using negative B divided by 2A. So what is B?
8. So it would be positive 8.
It's going to be a positive 8. I'm going to plug it in because there's a negative in the equation and then negative 8, right? Mm-hmm. Divided by 2 times negative 1. So this is really a positive 8 over a negative 2, which gives me
4.
Negative 4. So the x value of my vertex is negative 4. I just plugged it into that equation. Because I'm showing you all the steps. You probably don't need to write every single one of those steps, right? Like once you get used to it, you can skip part of that. Okay, are we okay with negative 4? So because it's the x value of the vertex, we also know it's the axis of symmetry. So I know my axis of symmetry is x equals negative 4, right? So Adrian's question was, how do I know, where do I get the numbers? What do I plug it into? I'm going to take negative 4 and plug it back into the equation. So y equals, I have the negative, and I'm replacing x with negative 4. Okay, we're just replacing x with negative 4. I'm going to show you my steps with this because this is where your mental math will probably mess you up. Because there's a lot of positives and negatives you have to deal with, and if you don't get those positives and negatives right, your values are going to be wrong. So it's best to write it down.
Why is it minus?
Okay, because it's a negative here, and then this is negative 4. Okay?
Wait, where is it? The negative is it?
I haven't done any math. I literally just replaced x with negative 4. Okay, so everywhere there was an x in my equation is now a negative 4, right? Now I'm going to use order of operations. What is negative 4 squared? 16. But there's this negative out front, so it's really a negative 16. 8 times negative 4? Negative 8 times negative 4? Positive 32 minus that 17. So negative 16 plus 32 is 16, and 16 minus 17 is negative 1. So the y value of my vertex is negative 1. Again, if you mess up, it's going to be because of the positives and negatives. It's going to be your algebra, right? Your basic operations.
Wait, so you don't touch the 32, only the A and C?
Touch the 32. What do you mean?
Like, because you only subtracted 16 and 17 and got negative 1.
Nope. Negative 16 plus 32 is a positive 16, and then 16 minus 17 gives me a negative 1.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, we're not going to graph these. I just want to practice. Well, we will eventually, but I want to practice finding our vertex. Because if you can't get the vertex, your table of values is going to be wrong, right? So let's do the next one together. What is A? 2. B? Negative 8. C? Okay. And again, you don't need C, but I do want you to practice knowing what A, B, and C are. All right, so if I plug it in,
8 over 2, 4.
there you go. The video will be online too. So let's see. Negative B over 2A. So B is negative already, right? Over 2 times 2. So I have a positive 8 over 4. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Which is a positive 2. So the x value of my vertex is 2. What's my axis of symmetry?
2.
X equals 2. And to find the y value, we're going to plug it back in. So y equals 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 minus 12. I replaced all the x's with 2. Okay, order of operations. 2 squared.
4.
4 times 2 is
8.
8. Negative 8 times 2,
Negative
16. And then we have the negative 12 at the end. So 8 minus 16 gives me negative 8. Negative 8 minus 12.
Negative 20.
So 2, negative 20 should be your vertex. You got that by yourself? Good. I would like you to do number 3. What? Slight work? I don't. So A is 1, B is negative 4, right? You should have, because it's negative B over 2A, you should have positive 4 over 2, which is 2. Did you get 2 for x?
That's
Okay.
2.
So 2 is the x value of my vertex. The axis of symmetry is x equals 2. When I plug it back in, I get 2 squared minus 4 times 2. 2 squared is 4 minus 8. You should have gotten negative 4. You got it? Yep, slight work.
I told you it was easy.
Thank you,
After
Leah.
you translated.
I appreciate the translations. Okay, so let's graph. It's still slight work. All right. Same thing applies, okay? We're still going to find the vertex just like we did, and then we're still going to create a table of values. Okay, so let's start with our vertex. I know A is 1, B is negative 4. So if I plug it into negative B, that becomes a positive 4 over 2 times 1, which is 2. Right? Which means the x value of my vertex is 2. Everyone agree? The axis of symmetry is also 2. Now I need to find y. So y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 8. 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then plus 8 gives me what? 4. Because these are going to cancel, right? Negative 8 and 8 cancel. So I really just have 4. So my vertex is 2, 4. Once you know what the vertex is, graphing is exactly how it was in vertex form. So we'll create our table of values. We'll make our middle point 2, 4. We'll select 2 x values below 2 and 2 x values larger than 2. So what are 2 x values below 2?
3 and 4. Oh, 1 and 0.
1 and 0 and greater than 2?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay, let's plug in 0. When you're in standard form, 0 is the best number to plug in. You know why?
Tell us.
Gone, right? 0 squared is 0. Bye. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. So what's left?
That was tight. I like.
So when you plug in 0 in standard form, pretty much everything cancels except your C term. Right? Because 0 times anything is going to be 0. So that one was easy to plug in. Now if I want, I'm going to plug in 1 because I think that's easier than 3. But if you want to plug in 3, go ahead. If I plug in 1, now I would write some of these down because again, your mental math and positives and negatives are going to be what screw you up here. In the middle cupboard of your drawer. So let's see. Y equals, I'm plugging in 1. So 1 squared, oh, try the box. Try the box. There's some behind you. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 8. Yeah, I'll take it. 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 8. What does that give you? 5. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. So you literally create your table of values the exact same way. And guess what? You plot the points the same way too.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why are there so many ways to do one thing? Why can't we just stick to it? Right.
Because it's different forms. Just, I'm telling you, wait till you get to IM3.
Why can't we just like standard form, boom, graph it. We gotta go vertex
It's
form.
only
all
that like
this.
item 2.
Because they have to, because they show you the different forms. So technically, you can take vertex form and make it standard form, right? Like we rewrote it in standard form. So if you want to do that and do the extra work and put it in standard form and then figure it all out, that's fine. Hold on. The nice thing about vertex form is it's all there for you without you having to do math. You just have to be able to pull the information. Here you have to do some math to get the vertex. That's the difference. Okay? Yes. Yes.
How do you figure out the y? What number to use for the y equation?
How do you figure out what? I'm sorry?
Y.
You plug in x to this equation here. So whatever x is, you plug it in and that'll give you y.
But how do you know the other numbers?
Like these numbers?
Like, what do you even start with?
So once you find the x value of the vertex, which was 2, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
I plug that in and that's how I got 4.
Alright.
Okay, now just like when we were graphing in vertex form, you pick 2 numbers below and 2 numbers above and then you plug them in to get the y's. Just like when we were doing vertex form. Creating the table of values is exactly the same.
That's the table for finding out y. You know,
That is the table though. Because look at, if I know what x is, right?
I'm not asking for a table, I'm just trying to figure out y. You know, y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2.
Right. So you're not listening to what I'm saying. X is 2. You're okay with that, right?
Right.
So then I plug it in. 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 8. You plug it into the equation, and that's how you get y. And then I know if x is 1, I plug 1 in to the equation, and that's how I get 5. Does that...
So it's going to be that, shouldn't it be 2x squared plus 1 minus 4 plus 8?
No, so 2x squared. Which one are you on, hon?
That one, the one right on the bottom.
The first one?
Yeah.
Where are you getting 2x squared from?
I'm sure it's
All right. So before I actually graph this, what is my orientation? Up. What is the shape? No change.
No change.
Because A is 1. So if your graph doesn't face up and it's not a normal graph, you did your table of values wrong. And you should fix it.
That way.
Right? So let's plot these points. 0, 8, 1, 5, 2, 4, and so on. It should look like this. Some of you have issues with creating a graph. I was going back over your quizzes. You need to have arrows that extend past that last point. Okay?
You mark this on there? So even if we had arrows, you still might not.
No, if you had arrows, you're fine.
Oh, you said it's still past.
Well, you shouldn't have an arrow like over the point. Like it should go past that last point. Also, it's a U-shaped curve. A lot of you drew V's.
Did you mark them
Why
off?
does it matter?
Because next year when you get to IM3 and you talk about absolute value, it will be a V-shaped graph.
I don't know why is it not
Because a V is absolute value. It's a completely different equation. A U is a quadratic. Okay, so you just need to make sure that your graph is curved. I didn't mark you down on your quiz for not curving your graph, but you need to be careful with that. Okay, ready to try the second one? Yeah. Okay, so A equals 2, B equals 8, right? Actually, you do it. I want you to try it. So I'm going to just kind of go through this, and if you need me to stop, tell me to stop. So negative B would give me a negative 8 over 2 times A, which would be 4, which means the x value of my vertex is negative 2, which means my axis of symmetry is also negative 2. Okay, I'm going to plug everything in, so y equals 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8 minus 16. And 8 minus 16 is negative 8. So your vertex should have been at negative 2, negative 8. Again, if you mess up, it's going to be with your positives and negatives. So just be very careful. Okay? If I create my table of values, I have negative 2, negative 8. 2 points below are negative 3 and 4. And then 2 above are negative 1 and 0. I like to plug in 0. Gone. Gone. What's left? Nothing. So 0. Right? Because there's no C term. I'm also going to plug in negative 1, and I'm going to write that down just so we have it. Negative 1 squared plus 8 times negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. And then that's negative 8. So it gives me a negative 6. Did you get that for your table? Yeah? Okay, so let's plot that. Negative 4, 0. Oh, wait, before I do that, what way is my graph going to face? What's the orientation? Up. And what's my shape? Compression. So if it's not those two things, you did it wrong. Negative. Yep, try again. Don't just leave it. That will probably frustrate me more than anything else, is if you know it's wrong. So like you fill in the key features and you're like, it faces up, it has a compression, and all these things are right. And then all of a sudden you get to your graph and it faces down and it's wide. I'm going to be like, I thought you knew what the key features were. Why did you not fix something that you obviously knew was wrong? Yeah. But let's not be lazy. It is the last test of the year. What? Well, oh my goodness. For real. Okay, that is a bad graph. Ignore, that's a really bad graph. What? Own? On, okay. Why can't I just say for real? Okay, whatever. Now, real quick, I didn't ask you to do it in the first one, but I do want to talk about it. Your axis of symmetry. What kind of line is it? Straight is good answer. What else? It's a vertical line. It's a vertical line that goes through the vertex.
On the y-axis.
At, in this case, at x equals negative 2. Okay, you may be asked to graph the axis of symmetry, and we've done that, but I just want to reiterate. You can do a solid line, you can do a dashed line, doesn't really matter. Okay, can we see how you did on number 3? You didn't do it yet? Okay, ready, go. You did. Okay, so A is negative 3, B is negative 12, right?
Yes.
When I plug in negative 12, it becomes a positive 12. And 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, which gives me an x value of negative 2. I promise it's not always 2. Like all of them have been like 2 and negative 2. Okay, if I plug in for y, I have negative 3 times negative 2 squared minus 12 times negative 2 plus 1. Again, all these positives and negatives will screw you up if you're not careful. So negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 3 is a negative 12. And then I have a positive 24 plus 1. Negative 12 plus 24 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Was it the positives and negatives that screwed you up?
Yeah.
See, I'm always right. If y'all just listened.
It's not true. Every time you say something easy, it's hard. So,
It's easy for her.
yeah, she's been teaching it for 35 years.
Wait a second. Wow. Okay, Dalen. All right. 35 years. Okay. Whatever. I can't even concentrate now. So I'm so old. 35 years puts me at like.
Exaggeration. What do you call it? Hyperbole? Yeah.
35 years is a big exaggeration. Like you didn't even round up to like my closest years. You like multiplied it by 4.
What you like what? You graduated 05, we're like 30 now? 31, 30?
That's 31. That means she was teaching in negative.
5 years I'll be 30.
Okay, what number do we want to plug in? 0. Gone, gone.
1.
Nice. I'm going to plug in negative 1, so y equals negative 3. Oh, okay. I'm helping the people that need it. Negative 1 squared is 1, times negative 3 is negative 3. Then I have a positive 12 plus 1. What'd you say it was? 10? Yep. What's the orientation? Down. What is the shape? Compression. Good, because we're looking at the positive part of the A, right? You're just looking at the number. All right, so negative 4, 1. Negative 3, 10. Negative 2, 13.
Won't that clock ever get fixed?
Never. Okay, so it faces down. It's skinnier than the parent function, so we're solid. Yeah?
That's one of our labels. We solid.
I know what solid means. I'll use solid.
Oh, you know what solid means?
Yeah, like good.
Oh, straight.
How do you know what that means when you don't know what slide word?
What about straight with a K?
What?